Welcome everybody to CSCI 41, the Crucible of Souls. Second semester computer science. If you are in this class, we're going to be going over the syllabus and grading system and things like that today, how to get on the server. If you're on this class, if you're just watching it on YouTube, feel free to skip to the next one because we're not teaching any computer science today. We're going to talk a little bit about how to fail at computer science, and maybe that'll be interesting for you. But mostly it's just the typical syllabus talk that professors give on the first day of class. So, welcome everybody. We got some people watching live right now. If not, you're more than welcome to watch this class if you're in this class, whenever you want. Okay, so this class is a second semester C++ class. It's an intermediate, whatever that means, C++ class. It assumes that you know how to do like a for loop and a while loop and an if statement and things like that. If you don't remember that stuff from last semester, we will review all of it on Wednesday's class. We're going to go over basically all of Computer Science 40 in one lecture on Wednesday. So you have that to look forward to. This class is going to focus on two main things. We're going to teach you how to use the standard library properly. The standard library has done a lot of stuff for you. The C++ standard library is pretty good. It's not amazing, but it's pretty good. And there's a lot of very common tasks that they have done for you already. And if you know it, it can just amplify your productivity as a programmer because you don't have to reinvent the wheel. You don't need to sort your own array or vector or whatever. You just call sort and it'll do it for you. And then you can move on with your life. We're also going to do a lot of what's called object-oriented programming. So in CSCI 40, we introduced classes and structs as just sort of a way of like grouping variables together so that you could have like a person struct, and the person might have a name and an address and a social security number. It's like you have sub variables within a bigger variable. And in this class, we're going to go into more of that. Like a lot of this class is going to be teaching like proper, because everybody's got a different view on what proper means, right? Proper object-oriented design. And so we're going to be doing a lot of object-oriented programming. And we're going to be doing these things called data structures. So this is also a data structures class. Data structures is a very fancy way of saying something that holds lots of variables. Okay, it's a very complicated term for a very simple concept. A data structure is anything that has a bunch of variables held together. So do you guys know any data structures already? If you needed to hold a lot of variables at once right now, and I always have my coffee ready, so when I ask a question to the Discord, it gives you a chance to type an answer in the time it takes me to sip some coffee. This is a vanilla cinnamon latte. It's pretty good. Vector, queue, vector, list, vector, map, maps. Coffee sounds good. Coffee is not a data structure, but it enables data structures to exist. So there you go. Unordered maps, cup of joy, yeah. Integer. Integer is technically a data structure. It's true. It's 32 bits in one. So strings, yes, string is another good one. So a data structure is just anything that holds lots of data, lots of variables in a structured fashion, whatever that means. Arrays are the easiest data structure to understand. If you need 10 variables at once, you make an array of 10 variables. A vector is just an array, but better. So how many people here have not used vectors before? Like how many people here have had like somebody else for CSCI 40 and you've learned arrays but you haven't learned vectors? Because vectors are just like array 2.0. They're just better in like every basically conceivable way. There are very limited use cases for an array. It's not like, I'm suggesting they get taken out of the language or the libraries or whatever. But by and large, you just use vectors for everything. Zamripa? Okay. So a vector is, let me just show you how to do that real fast. Why not? Nope, that's Steam. That's not the server. NBA 2K23 is out. Okay. So let me just show you the difference between a vector and a array really fast. So int r100. This makes 100x. Right, Zamripa? Let me close Steam. I don't know why that's it. Okay. So, are you familiar with that, Anthony? Like, make 100 integers really quickly, just like that. Vector looks like this instead. You're going to get vector of integers named vec of size 100. So both these things make 100 integers. Vectors, however, can grow. You can make them bigger. So if 100 is not enough, you can just add to the end of it, and the vector will grow in size. Vectors are heap allocated. So arrays are stack allocated, which means that they're faster to allocate slightly, but they're not persistent. Vectors are heap allocated, so you can pass them around between functions and things like that. And they can be, and the heap things on the heap can be a lot bigger. Stack things are kind of limited in size. And so from a data structures point of view, like this is not great, because if you just make like, I don't know, 400 megs, right? This is an array that holds 100 million integers, 400 megs of RAM. This will, well, let's find out what happens. Cout array 99. Let's see out the last element. Let's see what happens. What happened here? I know it's uninitialized, and it segfaults. It actually crashes. Okay. Whereas if we did this with a vector, make the vector 400 megs as well, works fine. And the vector also initializes itself. So there's a lot of differences between arrays of vectors. They're basically the same idea. It's a contiguous array of memory in both cases, but vectors, like I said, are just arrays 2.0. Like they're just better in, I would like to say in every way, but you know, sometimes you want that little bit of speed boost off of stack allocation instead of heap allocation, and you saw that like the array wasn't initialized, the vector was, and sometimes you want that because it's faster. So you know, there's like these like kind of edge cases where you still want to use an array, I guess, but vector's just better. Okay, so we'll talk more about that on Wednesday, but that's kind of the difference between an array and a vector in a nutshell. You get it? Cool. Yeah, so this class only assumes you've taken CSCI 40, not even necessarily with me, but just if there's something that like I talked about from like last semester that you don't know about, just say something. Like you guys can talk. One of the nice things about being on Discord is that you can just talk, right? You just, you know, talk and it doesn't interrupt me, right? Whereas most professors get mad if people talk during the middle of class, and I don't, because it's on Discord. And I just, so if you ever see me like looking over here or looking over here, I've got a 3 monitors set up. So I'll be like checking the different things over here. Okay. All right. So we're going to learn more data structures in this class. We're going to learn lists and stacks and queues and hash tables and binary trees and tries and decks and maps. So some other stuff. This is one of the big things in this class, like just learning all the different kinds of data structures out there. And the big thing, the big takeaway from this class is, when do I use which data structure? When should I use an array? When should I use a vector? When should I use a binary tree? When should I use a stack? Because just the choice of your data structure alone can make like 1,000,000 times difference in performance. Like if you have the wrong data structure for the job, your thing will run abysmally slow. And oftentimes, like, you can just make like one little change, like, you know what, instead of a vector, I'm going to use a deck. And your code runs 1,000,000 times faster from changing one word in your code. So a deck, by the way, is a vector where you can grow the front of it and the back of it. With a vector, if you insert things at the front, it has to move all the elements to the right one spot. And so if you're repeatedly inserting at the front, you know, you have 1,000,000 things in the vector, it'll shift everything. It'll shift 1,000,000 elements one to the right and put the thing in. You do it again, shifts them 1,000,000 to the right and puts it in. A deck can grow in the front and it can grow in the back. And so just understanding what conceptually all of these data structures do and when you should use them and what they're good at and what they're bad at. All of them are good at something. All of them are bad at something. And that is the big takeaway from this class. Every computer science program that I've ever heard of mandates data structures because it is so important to computer science. If you have the wrong tool for the job, your code is going to be absolute garbage and it will run like it's running in quicksand. And oftentimes, like, that's something that separates like people that are like self-taught from like people that have gone to college. Is like, you look at their code and they're like, why are you using a vector? You're inserting it in the beginning. I don't know, I just use vectors for everything. Here, let me change this. And then it's like all of a sudden it's fast. It's like, what did you do? It's magic. No, I just do data structures. So you have to be on the Discord server for this class. If you're watching a recording of this lecture, because we have 70 people in this class, and there's 22 online right now, so I assume that most of you are either not aware that we do live recordings because for whatever reason the schedule was published as time to be determined. Which baffles me. Maybe you're not aware that, this is how it is, but anyhow, you have to join the class Discord server. On Canvas, there's an announcement that has the link to the Discord server, and it has some other announcements and things like that will get you prepared for the class. This room that you guys are in right now, the classroom, is the class voice chat is where all of the lectures will be. And then the texting on the CSCI 41 chat channel is like where you ask questions and you talk amongst yourselves. If you need help in the class, then there is also the CSCI 41 Help Center, and you can post homework questions and things like that there. And various people, myself, the TA, former students like Hazelton, can help you out. Is there anyone else in here? I guess Aaron technically is a junior, but he's taking junior level data structures, and now he's taking freshman level data structures, which is baffling. Okay. So, for him crew. Yeah, but the Discord is open 24/7, and a lot of times you can get help for homework assignments like at all times of the night, so it's really nice. Anyone here play Fallout New Vegas? It's one of my favorite Fallout games. An acquaintance of mine was one of the people who made it. Yeah, so online learning can kind of suck, and this class I try to keep it fun. The way that I structure these things, that I'll lecture at you, and then I'll have you guys do some work on the server, and then I'll have you post your screenshots of your code that you've written, and I'll take a look at them and be like, okay, that's correct, that's wrong, in a positive and wholesome way. If you're watching the recordings, then whenever I give people lab time, like, hey, code up a solution to print the numbers from 1 to 100, then you should pause the recording and code it up, and then when you look at the examples that I put up on the screen, which are anonymized, I don't have people's names on them, then you can be like, oh, I got it right, or I made that same mistake, and that kind of stuff. So I try to keep it fun in this class. I don't take things too seriously. For a lot of schools, CSCI 41 data structures is like their filtering class, or like they separate out the worthy from the unworthy. It's they have too many students, and so they try and get rid of them, and so this class is like used to like fire their students. I don't have that attitude. My attitude towards learning is I want every student in my class to learn, to get an A if possible, and the whole class is structured in such a way that it will keep, like, if you don't learn something, like, we just come back and like, no, you need to learn it. You need to learn it. And the whole design is to like have you finish this semester having a good set of knowledge of the topics that we're talking about. Okay. So this class has 2 sections, one in person, one online. You're free to go back and forth between the two of them. The in-person was full today. Like, they were running out of seats. I don't know, there's room on the floor or something. I don't know. But basically, you can come to the online, you can come to the in-person. Either way works for me. So, if you get sick, then you can watch, you can take it online. If you miss a class, you can watch the recording. If you come in person and something didn't make sense to you, you can watch the recording later on. So however you want to structure it yourself, It does not matter which of the two sections you're in. The deadlines are the same. The assignments are the same. Everything's the same. Like literally, I don't even pay attention to who is signed up in what section. I probably should for accounting reasons or something. I don't know, but I really don't. You can just go bounce back and forth between them. However, you can come to either lecture, both lectures, neither lecture, but I don't recommend neither because I think there's value in like interacting with a professor. You know, like I do think you learn better like when the professor's like giving you challenges and you have to like code up something really fast. But you know, if you can't, you can't. Okay, so this is very important. There is a rhythm to this class. There is a ongoing cycle. There's a daily cycle, there's a weekly cycle, and there's a monthly cycle. And the daily cycle, it's daily. It's every class day. So we have 3 classes a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. After every class, there will be a quiz, and the quiz will be due at noon on the next class day. So tonight, a quiz will go up, and that will be due on Wednesday at noon. After Wednesday's class, the quiz will go up Wednesday night, and it will be due Friday at noon. Your quiz counts as your attendance, so do not skip the quizzes. You guys all type that in Discord. Quizzes count as my attendance and hit return. Like I want everybody to type that. Quizzes count as my attendance and hit return because there's every semester quizzes come on attendance. Yeah, you don't have to use all caps, but I appreciate the sentiment. Thank you, Hazelton. Hit return. Type hit return. Because every semester, like students are like, it's just a couple points. I'm not going to take it. And then you miss 6 of them, you get dropped from the class. And so even if you don't care about the points, open up the quiz, hit submit, get a 0 on it. It still counts as you being there. Okay. If you don't take the quiz, then you count as absent. And if you miss 6 classes, then you're dropped. And I had a student get mad at me a couple years ago. It's like, I needed the class. You know, my student job requires me to have a certain number of units. And like, all you had to do is just click the button, dude. Like, you know, this isn't rocket science. You just click submit, take a 0. I don't care, you know. The quizzes are your attendance, so it's very important. Okay. Smash that return like it's a subscribe button. Thank you for not dropping me. I do usually send out reminders to people that are like forgetting to take the quizzes, but don't rely on that because I'm not, you know, I don't have to and I forget sometimes. You know? Okay, so every week, and you should also participate. Like every class, you should say something, right? Like I don't like it when there's students that are just like they're like on the chat and then they just never type anything and they don't like hey like write a for loop now. They just don't, you know. Like it's always kind of like, where are you? You know, once I unmuted a student and they were at Taco Bell. They're like, oh, hang on. Yeah, I want 7 burrito supremes. Like, he's like, oh, hang on, my professor's talking to me. And they're like, are you in class right now? He's like, yeah, I'm in 45. It's like, don't be that guy. Just participate. Okay. Every week you're going to get 1 programming assignment. This week you're going to get 2 because the first one's kind of like a easy, you know, little 2-pointer. You're going to get 1 programming assignment a week, and some of them are going to be individual, some of them are going to be paired. Assignments are due 1 week after they're given, unless there's something weird like there's a break or something, you know, like Martin Luther King Day, Junior Day, you know, that might kick it back a day or something. But generally speaking, assignments are due a week after they're given. And then you're also being given a chapter of the textbook to read every week. And the good news is this semester, there's very few programming assignments in the XIBooks. It is almost all informational. And so basically you have to get the XIBooks and the link of it's off Canvas. And basically when you read the textbook, it reports it back to Canvas and it gives you a grade. And so when you start doing the homework, you'll be like, my grade is a 0. You know, well, yeah, it's because as you go through it, it actually is transmitting the reading that you do to Canvas. And so when you start, you get a 0, which is an F. You're like, I'm getting an F. But it's just because you just began it. You know what I mean? So don't panic. Just finish the chapter. You'll get 100%. Everything will be fine. And then there is a monthly, every month, it kind of depends, competency exam. So in this class, um, let's see, I'll go through this in a second. Yeah, we don't have midterms and finals. Okay. Yay. No midterms, no finals. I have chosen to do a lower stress alternative to it called a competency exam, which tests your knowledge on one specific topic. And they're kind of similar to the quiz questions that I give on the daily basis. So if you've been doing well on the quizzes, or if you want to review for it, you can look at the quiz questions and see how you're doing. If you get a 75% or higher on the competency exam, I round it up to 100%. But if you get below a 75%, you got to take it again. And you can take it again the next week or 2 weeks later, whatever, like whenever I put up the second take on it. No problem. And the higher of the two grades count. If you fail it twice, then in order to do the third take, you have to go into the tutorial center and sit with a tutor for an hour, and they will explain to you classes or functions or whatever it is. They will sit there and go over the material again. Again, the design of this class is to have everybody learn the material. It's not here to punish you. It's here to make sure that you know the material. Because if you don't learn a function, like, it's not going to get any better. Computer science doesn't get better if you just like skip a topic, right? It will be a train wreck on top of a train wreck. And so the goal of this whole system is you keep testing and keep demonstrating over and over again that until you know the material. However, there's an important thing to point out here, which is that the take 3 is password protected. The tutors have the password. And so every semester, students will be like, oh, I'm trying to take 3. It's due in an hour, and I don't have the password. And it's like, no, you have to make an appointment with a tutor like the day before it's due. And they always they panic and they like message everybody like 10 minutes before the thing is due. And it's because they didn't pay attention to this. If you're going to take a take 3, you need to study with a tutor like for an hour prior to take 3. And Min Corelli, who's the TA for this class, puts up study sessions for each of the competence exams as well. And then there's sometimes a take 4 as well, just depending on how I feel about it. Okay, so the goal of this class is to finish teaching you how to program. So it takes about a year to learn to program, like the basic major components of programming. Computer science is a 4-year degree. So what do we do in the other 3 years? Well, we do program, but we're not teaching you programming. In the other 3 years of computer science, we assume you know how to program. Now you're going to be learning stuff, like in CSCI 26, I teach different kind of corners of C++ that a lot of people don't know about. But after this class, you're expected to know how to program at a basic level. Okay? The homework assignments that I create for this class are based on real world things that I've done in my own personal life, where they're like common job interview questions, like we're going to be doing FizzBuzz today. So FizzBuzz, I don't know if you know about it. It's one of the most common job screening questions for programmers. They give you 10-15 minutes to write a program that will print the numbers from 1 to 100 with some rules. If you print out 1, 2, and then if the number is divisible by 3, you print fizz. If the number is divisible by 5, you print buzz instead. And if it's divisible by 3 and 5, it prints FizzBuzz. So it goes 1, 2, fizz, 4, buzz, fizz, 7, 8, fizz, buzz, 11, fizz, 13, 14, FizzBuzz, 16, 17, fizz, 19, buzz, etc., etc. So that is a common job interview question. So that's the kind of homework assignments that I give you, because I want to prepare you for jobs, and I want to prepare you for upper division computer science and things like that. So my homework assignments usually come about from me like walking around the world and like looking at things, being like, oh, my students could solve that problem. Or like it might just be based on my own work and things like that, and things that I've done personally in my career in the past. And so your first real programming assignment is actually something I'm working on myself right now, which is doing what's called ray marching to do computer graphics. And so it's like a simple introduction to ray marching almost. So at the end of it, like you're going to start feeling a little bit competent. Like I didn't feel like actually competent at computer science until I was probably a junior. And I TA'd it a bunch of times. And then I started actually feeling kind of like comfortable. Like you shouldn't feel like, I'm the greatest in the world, but you should at least have the basics down. And I got my first job programming after taking this class. So after I took CSCI 40 and 41, the equivalent of CSCI 40 and 41, I got a job doing virtual reality video game programming. And did I know everything? No. Did my boss there know way more than me? Yes. He was a great programmer, and I learned a lot from working a job, but I at least had the basics down. And once you have the basics, businesses can work with that. They don't want to hire people that don't know what an if statement is. Does that make sense to you guys? Like, they don't want to hire somebody where they have to explain what a for loop is. Are you guys with me on this? Like you have to have like what is a function? What is like they don't want to explain variables to people, right? But if you have like that foundation of like, I know what a variable and an if statement and a for loop and a function and a class is, like if you have that, they can work with that. Okay. And you can get a job as a junior programmer. So one of my students actually just messaged me saying she couldn't be a tutor this semester because she just got a job. And I'm like, cool. That's what I want to hear. So this is really the goal. We're trying to level up your power level, right? Like your goal is to come in as kind of like, low power level person, and we want your power level to exceed 9,000 by the time you finish this class. We want to turn you into a fully armed and operational Death Star, okay, by the end of this class. So become the Goku of programming. Or vegetable or something. It's a Dragon Ball joke. So we can just sit here and watch this all day. It's really what the goal of the class is, right? We're just trying to charge up. Okay. Now there is a note. You might notice that I changed the name of this class to A Crucible of Souls, right? And after I named it, I was like, I wonder if anybody's used that phrase before. So I went onto Amazon and found there was a book called A Crucible of Souls. And I'm like, I bought it, and I've started reading it. Actually, it's a fantasy novel. It's okay. I'd give it a B or so. But really, this class is designed to sort of like purify your souls in the fire. You're going to have to work hard in this class, right? But a lot of people say this class is the hardest class in computer science, and I don't think it's hard. Like I don't think hard's exactly the right word for it. Okay. Because like the workload's not that bad. A lot of the stuff we're going to be doing, you're just be like, that makes sense. And you do it, and you basically, as long as you stay on top of that class rhythm, you take the daily quizzes, you do the weekly programming assignments, you do the weekly readings. As long as you stay on top of it, like you're going to be fine. That said, there's going to be 3 homework assignments where I will give you warning that it will hurt your brain. Okay, the hard thing in this class is, pointers. If you want to summarize it, there's going to be a few homework assignments where you're going to have to use pointers and know pointers. And you're going to come out of it understanding pointers. When you're doing linked lists and binary search trees, you're going to be working with pointers in a crazy way, and your brain's going to go like this. Your brain is going to explode out of your skull, and it happens to everybody. And when it's one of those homework assignments that causes everybody's brains to just like melt and leak out of their ears and things like that, I will tell you, I will give you ample warning. I will tell you that everybody has trouble wrapping their minds around these concepts, and those homework assignments you should start early. Don't be like one of those like, I'll just start on midnight the night before it's due. Don't do that. You're gonna fail. You're gonna feel hard. You're gonna burn. The truck's gonna crash into a gas station. It's gonna explode. It will not work well for you. Okay. So I will give you ample warning when there's gonna be a homework assignment that's actually like, from my experience and from teaching and from me learning it, like it just, everybody's heads like explode. Okay. So there's going to be 3 of those during the year. I'll give you heads up on it. You're going to want to start early on those. Don't wait to the last minute. If you wait to the last minute, I will not have any mercy for you, because like I've given you ample warning. Like you need to start these early. Okay? You are going to get stuck. Everybody has trouble with it. Like, and then a lot of students have never had that experience before, right? They've never had that experience. Like, I just don't know what's going on. I don't get it. I'm lost. And students that have never had that experience, like, oftentimes will drop. And they're like A students, like they're A+ students or 4.0 students. They're like, I've never had this experience of just like, wow, before. And so, ironically speaking, like, worse students oftentimes do better in this class because they're used to being like, I don't know, but I'm going to work at it, and I'm going to go over the textbook, and I'm going to talk to the tutors, and I'm going to go on the help center, and I'm going to go to office hours, and I'm going to message the professor, and I'm going to do what I can to try and wrap my brain around these concepts. And they oftentimes do better because the good students are fragile because everything's been so easy for them. And so that's why this class is hard, because you're going to encounter adversity, in the form of pointers, basically. So, the worst thing you do is just stare at your screen when you're stuck. Ask for help anytime. Yeah, and we've got a great support network for you. Mincarelli, if you want to post your blurb about the tutorial center and things like that, Mincarelli's on chat right now. If you're watching the recording, his name on Discord is Mincarelli. His first name is Justice, and he's fantastic. He's one of the best TAs I've ever had. He works really hard for you guys. Like, you can see him at 3:00 in the morning answering questions for you guys. So I always tell my students, give clap emojis and really show your thankfulness for him, because he's not one of these people that just punches the clock. Like, he really works hard at helping students, and I do too. Like, I will answer students' questions when I should be sleeping. So one of the best embedded tutors in the district, says Bedencourt, who's an embedded tutor. Bedencourt is also a great tutor. He's pretty mid tier. He said that. I didn't say that. That's his own self-description. He's being humble. So Bedencourt's great too. And Aaron normally is a tutor, but he's taking the class somehow because nothing about Aaron's class schedule makes the slightest amount of sense. Okay, so if you get stuck, ask for help. The tutorial center is open 6 days a week. They have Zoom sessions. We've got people on Discord. Justice will typically do study sessions for the competency exams. Like, we have this whole support system in place. You just have to use it. Okay. Like I said, a lot of students just don't know how to fail properly, and so this class is good for you. Short-term failure is a great teacher. When you struggle at something, you're like, and you go over it again and again, you actually learn. Like, a little bit of stress is good for you. When you struggle and you succeed, you learn really well. And so you're going to come out of this class stronger. Okay. But the real big problem is, like, you get stuck. You're just like, I don't know what to do. And you just stare at your screen for an hour and nothing's happening. That's not what you want. So it's good to struggle and succeed. It's bad to just blankly look at your computer screen. Okay. So this is good. You can see she's working hard. She's got, I don't know what she's got there. What is that thing? Some sort of tables or something. I don't know. And she's got like this giant, like 800-page book. I don't even know what's going on here. This is like ridiculous. And she's got her ciabatta bread. Like, everything's flowing, right? She's in that flow state. Things are going hard. Writing code with a pen and paper, exactly. That's how you should do it. Who needs Vim when you got a notebook, right? Square Kelson. Yeah. Bedencourt is Professor Baker's embedded tutor, but so you will probably see him answering people's questions here as well. So this is good. This is what we want to see. I'm a little dubious about this book, though. I think I've never seen a book that big, so I don't know what's happening there, but this is what we want to see. Great stock photo. Now, this is the opposite, right? So frustration. She's staring at the book. Nothing makes sense because, as you can see here, she took her glasses off, so I don't even know what's going on, like why she's trying to read without her glasses on. The book's all shrank in size. I don't know. Good, bad. All right. And then here we have a guy who's, I don't know, doing some sort of something. He's working hard. Anyhow, I don't know what that is. It's like a Dirac equation over there. Quantum mechanics or something. electron, describing the orbits of electrons or something. I don't know. The first guy inventing C++. They have ladders. Like they actually bring in ladders, and the professors go up on the ladders and write up there. Yeah. So here you have a guy working hard. It's good. And then this is bad, right? Where you're just staring at your screen going like, I don't know what's happening here. So yeah, that dog died a year or two ago. So there you go. That's a great way to start the semester. The I don't know what I'm doing dog died. Sad. Okay, so yeah, if you're working, you're making forward progress, that's good. Make sure you budget enough time for homework assignments. That's if there's anything that I hate in this class, it's optimism. That's why I'm showing you the dead dog. We want to crush your sense of optimism. Students are endlessly optimistic about how long it'll take them to do a homework assignment. Like, oh, this should take me about 2 hours. And then it, work on it for 2 days and blow past the deadline and get a 0. Don't be too optimistic about your ability to do the homework. What you want to do, really, and I'm dead serious about this, work on it a little bit when it first comes out. Like I oftentimes give students lab time, specifically when the homework first comes out, so you can start working on it, and then you'll have a better estimate after you've kind of read the README file and like started working on it. Like you'll actually have a much better notion of like how many hours it's going to take than if you just are like, it sounds easy. Go off and play League of Legends or something, right? So, be depressed. Now, just quell your sense of optimism in your own abilities as a programmer. Okay. Honestly, like students are endlessly optimistic about, oh, I should be able to get it done, no problem, and then they get a 0, and I was one of them. Okay. So yeah, tutorial center office hours. If you're asking for help the night before, good luck. Now, there is one bit of mercy in this class. That is our last chance. Honestly, ask for help early. Do not wait till the last minute. Yeah. Like I'll turn off my phone at midnight, before it's due. I don't, because otherwise, like my phone just keeps exploding and it wakes everybody up. So, we do have one form of mercy, and that is the last chance program. So basically, once during the semester, if you get a low grade or a 0 on a homework assignment, you can take an extra week to do it, and you have to bring it in to the tutorial center. A tutor in the tutorial center will review your code and give you comments on it and say, oh, I like this, I don't like this. And then you message me, and then I will grade it myself and change your grade. So you have a 1 week extension once during the semester. Try not to use it on the first homework assignment. You do it once. Okay. Like I've had students use it before on like FizzBuzz, and it's like, well, it's not going to go well, dude. It's not going to go well. And I also offer tons of extra credit. There's tons of ways of making up your grade. Like I said, I really don't care about your grade. What I care about is you knowing the material. Like that's the sticking point. Like if you can't program, if you don't know the concepts, I want you to fail. If you know the concepts and you do the work, I want you to pass. That's the dividing line for me. If you know the stuff, I want you passing the class. If you don't know the stuff, I want you failing the class. That's the dividing line, and I offer a lot of opportunities for you to make up work, for you to try the competency exams again, to do the Zybooks, to do the programming assignments, to have tutoring centers. Like I want the information flowing into your brain and leveling up like Goku. Okay. So this class has no midterms and finals. Like I said, we have competency exams, which are about one a month or so. There's going to be one on linked lists and one on binary trees and things like that. And if you fail one, like I said, you can retake it. Sometimes 3 takes, sometimes 4 takes. Highest grade counts. Okay, so this is really not designed to stress you out. It's designed to have you learn. Okay, so the grades in this class, 10% are the daily quizzes, which count as your attendance, right? So make sure you don't dip out on those. Half your grade is programming assignments, so the weekly programming assignments is half your grade. Some of those are going to be individual. Some of them are going to be pair programming. Some of them are going to be groups. It just kind of depends on the assignment. Your projects are your midterms and finals. Oh, the competencies exams are kind of like the midterms and finals. 20% of your grade comes from doing the Zybooks reading. There's a link to Zybooks off Canvas. I can show you where to buy that right now. I got word that the bookstore has not heard of Zybooks. I'm going to send them there you go, Crucible of Souls. That's the book cover that I found. So the right here. Click here to buy access to your textbook. You click on that, and that takes you over to the Zybooks site. And I packed all of the CSCI 40 textbook into it. So you can revisit your CSCI 40 days and go through all of the old stuff you need to review. So it's a lot of hidden stuff I need to... I don't see why I wouldn't turn all that on, you know? Like if you want to do extra programming assignments, I don't see why not. And then it's got the new CSCI 41 stuff. The good news is, like I said, like there's very little programming inside of it. Like you can see there's like one lab or whatever. It's almost all informative reading. So it will reinforce my lectures. And so you're gonna get knowledge from a bunch of different ways, and it should percolate and cause you to level up as the result of it. Okay. So anyone know what this phrase means? Projects are what's fun about this class? Yeah, I think so. I think the whole class is fun. I'm trying not to scare you, but at the same time, I don't want you to be scared. I want you to take the class seriously. Because if you're a computer science major, you should consider this like one of the most important classes you're ever going to take, because it really is. You know, and the only thing that really galls me is like when students are like, oh, you know, I'll just start at 9 o'clock, you know, at night before, and then they don't get it done. You know, if you get it done, it doesn't bother me, right? Because you got it done. Like I want you doing your work and getting it done. It's just like I said, you know, a lot of students are just endlessly optimistic about their abilities to solve the homework. So somebody getting crushed, ultra kill. Those who are about to die salute you. Yeah, that's the for those about to rock, we salute you. Something salute. Yeah. So let's get you guys going on the server. So if anybody needs to add, make sure you message me. If you are adding, you don't have an account on the server right now, message me as well, and I will create an account for you on the server. So the server is csci4x.com, and the username and password is going to be your last name _ student ID. The leading zero is dropped. If you took me like a few semesters ago, I usually would leave the leading zero in there, but I'm just dropping it now. It's less typing. Everything's lowercase. There's an underscore, and that's both your username and your password. So it's going to be your last name _ ID. If you had a account with me last semester, it's gone. It got purged. Your old password is gone. All of your files are gone. Anything you turned in, I have a record of. I've got a record of every homework assignment ever submitted on the server, but all of your files and stuff like that are gone. Okay. So go ahead and log in on the server now. And how many people here have never used a Unix system before? I know there's some people in here that didn't have me for 40, so how many people here have not used Unix before? Password length. I run a password cracker every semester on the students' accounts to try and find weak passwords, because my server has been compromised before by hackers who guessed passwords. So I run a password cracker, try and make it something that's not easy to guess. Okay. Kearney, did you see one of my 40 students there in person? I don't know, dude. You have a name? Maybe. Special characters are allowed? Yeah. Why did I choose noon instead of midnight for due dates? Because class starts at noon. And so when it's due at noon, I can collect it right at the beginning of class, and then we can talk about it immediately. Midnight, like, I think midnight is for, like, people that have normal sleep cycles. Midnight's, like, right in the middle of, like, when people are programming. Like, why would you cut off somebody's last productive work session, you know, right in halfway in the middle of it at midnight, you know? So, you can use uppercase characters for the passwords. So, all right. Let's go onto the server, and I will show you how to use it real fast. Become... They haven't logged in yet. Become Jahal. Okay, so when you log in, you're going to type in your username and password, which is the same to begin with. It'll ask you to change your password. You do that, it logs you off. When you log back in, this is what you're going to see. The first Unix command you need to know is ls. ls will show you the files and folders within the current directory. So that is command number 1, ls. Command number 2, let's make some notes here. Command number 2 is cd, and all of the commands you're going to type are lowercase. I'm uppercasing them because the L looks like a 1 kind of. Change directory. And so all of your first assignment is going to be in this directory called FizzBuzz. So you're going to cd into FizzBuzz, and you can hit tab, and that file name completes for you. You can hit ls again, and now you can see that there is some source code there. There's a README file there. It looks like he's done already, so I don't want to put it up on. Let's see if I can find somebody else. Become Garcia Guerrero. Okay. Good. They haven't done it yet. Awesome. So, so the first command is I left this in Jahal's directory. So the first command is ls to list files and folders. Second command is cd to change directories. Third command is going to be nano or vim to edit a text file. If you've never used vim before, use nano for now, but we're going to have a conversation about that. So nano is a text editor. It's terrible for doing code editing. Vim is 100% the best text editor in the world for writing code. But nano, if you don't know Vim. To quit out of nano, you hit Control X. And then you can write your code here. So let's just go ahead and write int main. There you go. There's the world's simplest C++ program. Control X, save, yes. File name to write, fizzbuzz.cc. And there you go. And the fourth command is going to be g++. Compile a file. So we're going to g++ fizzbuzz.cc. Notice I hit tab again. The file name completed. If you compile it successfully, nothing gets printed. That means it worked. And then the fifth command is to run it. And you'll notice that my program, which does nothing, does nothing. But the question is, does it do it successfully? Did it do nothing successfully? Or did it do nothing unsuccessfully? Is the server lagging? Nope. And so what you're going to do in this class is you are going to be constantly doing steps 3 through 5 over and over again. So you're going to edit your code. going to compile your code. See how it's not declared. Aha, I have a bug. Using namespace standard. Or I could put a std right here. And then you compile your code, you edit your code, you run your code. You compile your code, you edit your code, you run your code. We'll do steps 3 to 5 over and over again until you think it is right. When you think it is right, test your code against the input tester. Input tester will tell you if your code's correct or not. And so what it's telling me is it's not correct. I have not actually done the homework assignment. My code is outputting hello world. The correct code is supposed to print FizzBuzz. And so I'll talk about what FizzBuzz is, I guess, now. So, so FizzBuzz, like I said earlier, it is one of the most common job interview questions. It's almost a meme how common it is. A friend of mine applied to Facebook and they gave him FizzBuzz as his first out of many programming tests. It's not like you get a job if you can do FizzBuzz. But if you can't do FizzBuzz, you don't make it past the first level because you should be able to write FizzBuzz. So what is FizzBuzz? FizzBuzz is a drinking game, but this is a dry campus. We'll pretend that people are drinking Martinellis. It prints out the numbers from 1 to 100, with the rule being that any number divisible by 3, you print out a fizz instead of the number, and any number divisible by 5, 10, is buzz instead of the number, and then any number divisible by both 3 and 5 is FizzBuzz. Yep. And so you just print out the numbers from 1 to 100. This is the correct answer. And that's it. That's all you have to do for this homework assignment. I'm giving you 2 days to do this. You have until Wednesday to get it done. When, like I said, when you think you're done, run the input tester. And a lot of people don't capitalize it correctly. Like if you do lowercase f, it's wrong technically. So run the input tester and it'll tell you. And if you do it correctly, then it will say test passed. This is what it looks like when you're done. Okay. Is that why it's called FizzBuzz? Yeah. And so in real life, what people do is they pound on a table or they clap their hands. And then you sit around a table and everyone's got their Martinellis and everyone's clapping in time. And you go 1, 2, fizz. And first person says 1. Next person says 2. Next person says fizz. Next person says 4. Next person says buzz. Next person says fizz. 7, 8, fizz, buzz. 11, fizz. 13, 14, fizz buzz. 16, 17, fizz. 19, buzz. Fizz. 22, 23. So in the in-person, we can have more fun than here. Here it doesn't work very well. But we all bang on our tables and try and go around the classroom. I've only had one class ever successfully complete FizzBuzz. There's always somebody, and they always have the same number. They know they're always 8, and all they have to do is say 8 on the beat when it comes to them, and they go 8. Once in 8 or 9 years of me doing this, once has a class ever completed FizzBuzz going across the whole, not even up to 100. Just each person says one number. Let's just say I'd be super sugared out. I know, right? The more Martinellis you drink, the harder it gets too. You get more practice at it, because you get used to the game and the rhythm. But the more Martinellis, you just start getting these really big sugar highs. So there's sort of I don't know. There's probably an optimal duration for performance after which performance drops. A bell curve, exactly. Your blood turns to cherry syrup. So that's your job. You guys have till Wednesday. You got 2 days to do this. And if you don't get it done by Wednesday, I'm actually going to give you guys automatic slack time on this because FizzBuzz is a 2-point assignment. This is not a real assignment. This is just to make sure you know how to get on the server and know how to log in. There's solutions to FizzBuzz on the web. Like, don't copy them. You should write it. It's the whole point of this is like, to show that you can pass a job interview. But like, the point of this isn't to like test your ability to write FizzBuzz. It's just to make sure you can log it on the server and use the Unix commands and things like that. If you've never used Unix before, this link here takes you to a multi-chaptered Unix tutorial. You want to do at least the first 3 chapters. I recommend the first 4 really in order to be proficient at Unix. It takes you an hour of your life, and every year students are like, well, if it's optional, I'm not going to do it. And then like at the end of last semester, like midnight before the homework was due, I had a student trying to CD into a text file, and they're like, my code's, the server's not working. And I'm like, okay, well, what's going on? And they're just trying to edit the direct, like they're trying to edit the text file, but they're doing CD. CD goes into a directory. If you want to edit the text file, use Vim, right? And their whole input history was like this over and over again. And I'm just like, there is a Unix tutorial. It's really a good idea to take it. The 5 things that I just showed you guys, those are the only 6 commands counting input tester. Those are the only things you really need to know in Unix. But really, you should go through that tutorial. Every time you log in on the server, it gives you that link. Every time you connect on Canvas, there's the announcements. It has that link. Like, it's on the module section. Like, really, just do yourself a favor and learn Unix. It's not hard. Okay. What if you fail the assignment? You get a 0 out of 2. But like I said, I'm grading it on Wednesday, but there's this assignment I'm gonna regrade on Friday, and then I'm gonna regrade on Monday's a holiday, right? Next week, so like next Wednesday. So hopefully you can do FizzBuzz by next Wednesday. So this Wednesday we're gonna be going over C++ entirely. So we're gonna have a big lecture on Wednesday where we're going to go over all of C++. So if you haven't taken C++ in a while or CSCI 40 in a while, we're going to review the whole thing. It is for a lot of people. And on the module section, let me pull this up. No, not the grade book. Don't show that to students. No, don't show that. Okay. Although there's no grades yet, but this here is Bjarne Trustrup's Tour of C++. It's the old one. It's the one that came out like 10 years ago, but the basics are still the same. Mostly. There's, I guess, some minor differences. The new Tour of C++, which I have right here somewhere, it's really good. This book, which he just came out with a new one in October. It's a fantastic book. If you have never read it, I would really recommend reading it. The first 4 chapters, this is the old book, you can read here, and that's like probably the most interesting stuff for you guys anyway. And the basics is like basically all of CSCI 40. Like, he goes through pull it up. He goes through introduction from Hello World. Oh, there you go. There's the world's easiest C++ program. How to print out things, what kind of variables, and he actually takes my approach, which is he only starts with a very limited set of variables. There's more, but these are the important ones, and I really like his way of structuring it, because you could just overwhelm students with like, well, there's also a long, and there's a long, and there's an int, and sometimes a long is the same size as an int, and sometimes it's the size of a long. You don't need that detail. He just goes over the important parts. And he shows you how many bytes each one of the variables has, and what operators are available, and the auto keyword, which is nice. A lot of you guys are probably big on that one. How constants work, how loops work. Switches, which I don't usually teach. Pointers, which we're going to be doing a lot of this semester. It's probably a good idea to read it over. I might even make this mandatory. I might even give you a quiz on it, in fact. how to make a struct and classes, and that's about it for CSCI 40. So what page is this? Compilation, yeah. So this is more C++. Oh, this is all more like CSCI 41 stuff. So basically up to right about here, 2.32, is what you need to know. Okay. And so it's like, I don't know, not many pages. 1, 2, 3, 4, like 10 pages. And that's like all of CSCI 40 is in 10 pages. And he lays it out very clearly, very easy to understand. If you haven't done C++ in a while, Bjarne's the guy who invented C++, and he's actually really good at teaching it. He's actually very talented as an author at like breaking things down very clearly and succinctly and giving examples and illustrations and things like that. So that link is right here. And I highly recommend it, especially if you haven't done C++ in a while. And then the other option, of course, is the textbook, which, excuse me, the textbook has like a lot of stuff in it. I would probably recommend Bjarne's introduction first, but then if you like want to get some experience with like, I don't know, like floating point numbers, there's all sorts of like labs and things like that you can do, and you can compile it and it'll test your code. This class requires you to like be willing to work hard. I guess the entire thesis statement for today is that like this class isn't hard, but you're going to need to like keep at it. You're going to need to work on it on the daily, on the weekly, on the monthly, and just produce consistent effort throughout the semester. And then you'll do fine. Okay, you'll do fine. Still have your C++ textbook. Yeah. I've got some recommended books. My old one's back behind my monitor over there. You can have a physical book. But yeah, the Tour of C++ is just a really good summary. It's short. Like it's a short and it just goes over everything that you need to know. So that's probably where I'd start to maximize the efficiency of your time. So if I term 2 on an iPad to code on the go, probably. I don't know. I don't use Mac stuff. I'm sort of philosophically opposed to them. Mincorelli's got a crash course on Vim and Unix here that if you don't remember Vim or Unix, that's a video you can watch that he put up for you guys. There's an assessment quiz. This is today's quiz, which will, it's like a pre-test that will test your knowledge of C++. And it's retakeable. So if you fail it, take it again. And if you fail it, take it again. And so they're hard questions, by the way. These are not easy questions. These are actually hard questions. I made it deliberately difficult because you can retake it. So who cares? the only thing you have to lose is your sense of self-confidence. But in all seriousness, like the questions are actually hard. So yeah, take the assessment quiz. This is an 8-point quiz, by the way, so don't forget to take that one. This will be due on. I've made changes. Yeah, I added questions. Weird. Okay. When does this due? Edit. And assignment group. This is gonna be in daily quizzes, and it will be due on Wednesday at 12. But if you guys don't get it done by then, I will give you till the 13th to get it done. So, yeah. So this is basically this assessment test. Why does it have the wrong date on it? This assessment test here is basically, you think of it as like a pretest for this class, a fairly hard pretest. So don't feel too down on yourself if you get some of the questions wrong, because like I said, these are actually hard questions. I didn't have that much to begin with. Yeah. Well, anyhow, it'll also help you identify like what you need to work on, and so just keep taking it. If you get a question wrong, like you can ask on the help center, like, hey, why is this answer this? And we'll help you with it, because who cares? Like you can literally retake this thing an infinite number of times. Like, don't worry about cheating on this one. But like, why does 3 plus 5 divided by 2, equal something, right? Like this is an example of like one of the quiz questions. It's like, what is this going to print to the screen? I'm asking you guys. I'm getting my coffee. Take a long sip of coffee. You tell me what it's going to print. Four, huh? Not 4. Not 5.5. And in theory, you could run these things on the server, but that's all of the questions you should be able to do in your head, right? And if you got 4, why did you get 4? What did you do wrong? If you got 5.5, what did you do wrong? Yeah. So 90, like, and this is actually why it's nice to do it on Discord, is because you can see everybody except for Alessandra and Garcia got it wrong, right? 90% of the class got it wrong. So a lot of students take it and they get it wrong. They're like, "Oh, I'm so dumb. Everybody else knows it better." No, they're all getting it wrong too. Okay, like 90% of the students got it wrong. Like, you're in good company. Okay. The reason for that is because, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally, right? So the division takes place first, and this is integer division. This is not floating point division. So if you do integer division, there's no decimal. So the person that said 5.5, you did floating point in your head, 2.5. Integer division is 2. And 2 plus 3 is 5. So the addition takes place after the division. Okay. If I had written it like this, probably more of you would have gotten it right. You know what I mean? So this is the level of kind of like cruelty that I have imposed upon you for the quiz. I'm not doing this again to be mean. That's why you can retake it. The goal here is not to be punishing and not to crush your spirits. The goal is to impart knowledge. You know what I mean? Like, this class is a weird combination of like hard and like Care Bear, like, like this yin and yang concept of like it's hard and it's going to be challenging, but at the same time it's very forgiving at the same time. Okay. The reference ones on the quiz were the ones I wasn't sure about. Which reference ones are you talking about? The duality of man, yeah, the Taiwan principle or whatever. I don't do PIMDAS. Please excuse my dear Aunt. What's another good one here? All right. What is this gonna print? Got a warning here. So I'm driving like a for loop with what's this equivalent to? Oh yeah. Yeah. So there's some technical questions on like how for loops work. Like what exactly does a for loop mean? That kind of stuff. So Otal says 0. Okay. Anyone else want to take a crack? So like nobody wants to say anything, but that's the wrong attitude. Like a lot of students in this class are like afraid to like ask a question or to like put themselves out there because they'll be like, oh, then the professor will know that I don't know the thing. But like that's why you're in this class. You're in this class because you don't know the thing, except for Aaron, who's taking junior level data structures and is somehow in freshman level data structures again. Like you're here to learn. Like you're not expected to know anything. Okay, so put yourself out there. So Hazelton has edited his answer. 4 or 3, 3.5, 3, 3.5, 3.5, 3, 3, 3 edited, 3.5 edited, 1.75, 3.5555556. Survey says 3.5. Okay. So 3 divided by 2 is 1. 5.0 is a floating point number. It's a double. So this is going to do double division. It'll do floating point division. So this is 2.5 plus 1 is 3.5. Okay. So how many times is this going to print goodbye world? Ten times? Are you sure? See, now people are changing it to 9. It was like 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10. And then we got a bunch of 9s in a row. It's amazing how you get people to second guess. Let's pipe this through. Work count by line. 10. See, you just all started second guessing yourself. 1, 2, 3. Got 6 9s in a row after I was like, are you sure? Are you positive? Yes, it's 10. Because this for loop here follows the standard pattern. Okay. So there's a standard pattern to for loops. And if it follows the standard pattern, whatever number is right there is how many times the loop runs. Now, let's do some C++ trivia. This one is on the quiz. What's the difference between this and this? And this is something I didn't even teach, I don't think, in CSCI 40. So this is actually just pure C++ trivia right here. So both of them are going to print goodbye world with a new line after it. But there is a subtle technical difference between those two lines. End line is a flush buffer, yeah. So the difference is end line flushes the output buffer. The new line flushes the output buffer if it's writing to the screen, which sounds identical, and it is mostly identical. Okay, so when you see out something to the screen, every time you hit a new line, it actually will dump the output buffer. If you don't, like, you could do something like see out, like ABC. That actually will not appear on the screen until a new line is read or the program ends. So if you're writing to the screen, this and this are actually basically the same. This one's slower, actually. This is actually quite slow if you're caring about high performance stuff. This is actually faster because it doesn't actually do a function call that flushes the output buffer. The reason why you use endline instead of this is it forces a flush, which matters if your code is crashing. Okay, so if your code is crashing, if you don't force a flush, your output might vanish. And I once was absolutely burned by this bug because my code was crashing and I had cout statements like, I'm here, I'm here, I'm here. And it was crashing. And so my output was not getting written. And so I thought the code was crashing up here, but it was actually crashing down here. Just the intervening cout statements were not getting displayed to the screen. So anytime you're doing anything in a situation where your code's crashing, where it's like physically like dying, like, like seg faults and things like that, not like you're quitting the program, you want to use endline. It's safer. Okay, it's safer and slower. The \n is faster and more unsafe. But in practice, you're probably not going to ever notice the difference between the two of these things. But there's a little bit of C++, a little C++ trivia, up there. So it's a little faster and a little less safe. And again, if you're writing to the screen, it does flush on a new line. It is output buffered on a new line. So when does it matter? If you're writing to a file. If you're writing to a file, this thing absolutely does make a difference because you want to force a flush if your code is crashing. Yeah, that's just a little bit of trivia. There is a quiz question on it, so there. Okay. So yeah, on the deadline, what I'm going to do is I'm going to run the auto grader. It's going to collect everybody's homework out of their FizzBuzz directories, compile the code, and then test the code. And if your code's correct, you get 100%. If your code's wrong, you get a 0. Simple as that. And so I'm going to run that at the start of class on Wednesday. So you have until Wednesday, start of class, noon. Everything's due at noon, not midnight, noon. And because remember, these two sections are interchangeable, right? So at noon on Wednesday, I'm going to grade it. And undoubtedly, there's going to be people that forgot to capitalize the fizz or something like that, or they edited the wrong file or something. And then I will regrade it on Friday as well. So don't stress out too much about FizzBuzz. On Wednesday, we're going to go over like the basics of C++ again. So, but I would try taking a crack at it right now. It's about this big a program, so you should be able to get it done, hopefully. That's basically it. So, yeah, in summary for today, this class is really designed to make you this instead of this, okay? So work hard, level up, put in the time, put in the effort for it, and you guys will do great. It's a fun class. It really is. It's a good class. I don't want to scare you. That's not the goal of this. The goal of this is to take it seriously, not to scare you. There's a kind of a difference in that. So refresh on the catch function. Yeah, we can do that. So hope you guys are fired up, ready to go. Let's do this. All right. So this will be a great semester. I got some brand new homework assignments that I've been prepping for you guys. It should be a lot of fun. Yeah, let's go. Yeah. Martinelli's popping. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. All right, guys. So I will see you on Wednesday. Peace out.